And we are live. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a few minutes because I got asked to go live. So I figured I'd go live for a few minutes to speak on this because I knew the outcome. I really did. It wasn't a big surprise or shock to me. I had been predicting it. I had been saying it for a while. I'm excuse my closeness to the cell phone, like I'm having to hold it by my hands, so it's not very comfortable. And I don't want to angle it to where it's pointing up the ceiling. So I may go off cam in a little while, but we're gonna hold it for right now. I just want to hold it until at least some people join that asked me to go live so we could talk about this. But yeah, so I pretty much knew that Usyk was gonna beat Anthony Joshua because as I stated on many different channels now, as I made my rounds, and I'm not gonna be live for long, but we're gonna be live for a little bit. You you don't take weight off. You don't give up your size advantage that looks, to me, at least in my opinion, to cause you a reduction in power against a guy with an iron chin, with a granite chin that can outbox you, that is technically better than you, that is more skilled than you. And that was very apparent early in the fight how Usyk was setting up the attacks, the straights with the feints, how he was stepping around AJ, slipping underneath AJ, and just catching him straight down the pipe. It came very apparent very quickly how much of a better boxer Usyk was than Anthony Joshua. Now, people talk about how big Anthony Joshua is. He didn't look that big next to Usyk in the ring. He didn't look that big next to him at all. See, the thing about it is, being tall doesn't make you big. You can be as tall as you want to be, but if you got no weight behind your ass, you're not a big dude. AJ came in at 240, but he weighed in with a bunch of clothes on, which really means he was about 237, whereas Usyk came in at about 221. So you're talking about a 16-pound realistic difference in between the two guys. Usyk did not have a big size gap that he had to overcome because Rob McCracken, for whatever reason, after AJ lost to Andrew Ruiz, thought, hey, let's take off all your strength. Let's take off all your weight. Let's keep you out of the gym, which, in my opinion, has really caused a huge reduction in his power. Let me read this real fast. Usyk was the better man tonight. He is a very good boxer. AJ needs a lot of improvements in others to have a chance against Usyk in the rematch. See, I agree and disagree at the same time with that. I believe if AJ would have came in at 250, he would have beaten Usyk tonight. There was a couple of shots that AJ landed on Usyk that hurt him very bad. A left hook to the body comes to mind, and it really hurt Usyk. Now imagine if AJ would have been 15, 20 pounds heavier when he caught him in the stomach with that same blow. It would have caused significant damage, the type of damage that we're used to seeing AJ cause. This fight, AJ really didn't look like he had a lot of power. He really did not look like he had a lot of power. He looked like I have been saying before that his power is just not there anymore. AJ is the type of guy that cannot be liked. He cannot put away the weights. He will not have the same punching power, and it is reflected in his last two fights. That's how I knew going into this fight that AJ stood very little chance at beating Usyk. Again, when AJ fought Andrew Ruiz the first time, he hit Andrew Ruiz with a good straight that put him straight on his ass. AJ did not lose that fight against Andrew Ruiz because he was too big, because he was getting exhausted. He didn't lose because of that. He lost because he got too aggressive. He ran into a shot and he never recovered from it. That's the only reason why he lost to Andrew Ruiz. Had he have fought Andrew Ruiz different in that first fight, he would have very possibly knocked out Andrew Ruiz. But what he did was he threw all caution to the wind, started throwing wild shots, and got caught. And that was it. That's all she wrote. His weight had zero to do with the loss. His speed had zero to do with his loss. His boxing ability had zero to do with the loss. He made a mistake, got caught, and paid for it. Now, what did they do to rectify this mistake? They said, oh, we're going to make AJ small. Let's get him off the weights. Let's stop strength training him. And let's get him small, lighter, so he can box better, supposedly box better. Now, he goes into the second fight against Ruiz. He looks great in a 12-round fight that he wins by decision. However, you have to ask yourself something. Was it AJ looking great, Or was it the fact that Andrew Ruiz came in so overweight that made AJ appear better at the new weight than he actually was? Think about that. Andrew Ruiz came in sweating out bacon grease. He came in, I believe, 266, the biggest he's ever been in his career. Looked like he never trained and could barely move in that rematch. However, when AJ had a sitting still target, he landed straights on Ruiz all night long like he did in the first fight. But you know what the difference in the second from the first fight was? AJ couldn't hurt Ruiz. That was my first indication that something's going on with his power here. So think about that. For 12 rounds, he beat a punching bag and never hurt it once. In the first fight, the first time he landed cleanly, he dropped him. That told me that was my first eye-opening that something doesn't look right. Fast forward to the Pulev fight. We watch AJ land his bread and butter, the uppercut. I'll get to this question in just a second. We watch AJ land his bread and butter, the uppercut on Pulev. However, he doesn't just land one uppercut. He lands 5 to 7 in a row, and Pulev's still standing. He's still coming forward. We're talking about a guy who's, if he wasn't 40, he was like 38, I think, 38, 39, 40, somewhere in there. Somewhere between 38 to 40 years old, just got hit by 5 to 7 uppercuts in a row and didn't go down, didn't get buzzed, didn't get stunned, kept coming forward. Now I was like, this is not good. This is not good at all. AJ's power has been reduced. It is not there. How his trainers did not see this, I do not know. I do not know how it just went over their head. I'm going to get to the advice for the rematch because this is leading up to that. Now, what do we know? We know Usyk has a granite chin. We know he doesn't get hurt. I've never seen him hurt. We did see AJ hurt him to the body, as I mentioned earlier. But prior to this fight, I've never seen Usyk hurt. I've seen him get in there with knockout artists and eat their best shots and keep coming forward. So what AJ did was he lost weight, okay? Reduction in power. He has a reduction in power going against a guy with a jaw that doesn't get cracked. Stupid. Furthermore, if you're going to be lighter, okay, close the weight advantage, the gap between you and the guy that you're going to fight. You need to make damn well ensure that you're the better boxer. Because if you're not the better boxer, if you're not the more technical boxer, then you're not going to outbox him. That was another mistake. And it showed. It showed in this fight how Usyk was setting up shots, how he kept landing the same shots time and time and time and time and time again on AJ. Now, you cannot claim that AJ does not have heart. You cannot claim he does not have a chin. Because no matter how many times he was getting hit, AJ kept fighting. He fought to the very end. He fought to the very end to the fact of where it looked like he collapsed in his corner after the 12th round. That's hard. That's dedication. He's got heart. He always had heart. And he's got a good or a decent chin. I don't know how good it is because Usyk's not this world destroyer, but he's definitely got a good chin. I don't know if it's an elite level chin compared to other heavyweights of the past, but he's got a very good chin. It showed. The chin, the heart was not the problem. The problem was the weight. To beat Usyk in a rematch, he needs to come in heavier, bigger, stronger. He needs to go back to how Tony Sims was training him to be the fucking tank that he is. You don't take a tank to war with no armor on it. You make sure that motherfucking tank that you have is armored up. You make sure there's no small rounds that's going to go through that because that's what Usyk has. He has small rounds that are going against that tank, but the tank had no armor. So they started to affect him. His eye looked like he got a broken orbital bone. We'll find out in a few days if that is the case. But to me, it looked like his orbital bone was broke. But you have to give him props for fighting through it. I saw how quickly it was starting to swell up, and he kept fighting. He did not give up like Joe Joyce. He did not give up like Billy Joe Saunders. So you got to give him credit for staying in the fight, a fight that he was clearly losing and a fight that he's clearly probably injured in. Fought to the very end. That's hard for days. That's showing the will to win. What I think his issue is it's a strategic issue. Usyk is not that much shorter than him. AJ 6'6", Usyk 6'3". It's only 3 inches in height. Their reach, I would have to look up, but I'd imagine that it's not that much either. It's not so much enough to where he's going to be able to keep Usyk at a great range to where Usyk can't touch him. They're close enough in height and stature that they can touch each other at all times, and we saw that again in the fight. Let me see, around the last round, he looked gassed out. If he comes out heavier, won't that play against him? So here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about it. And I've said this multiple times to multiple people. And I'm going to put this because I know I had some people message me. They're not here. Should have showed up because I went live for them. And like I said, I'm not going to be live for long. But we're going to do this just in case people want to join. Do I think the extra weight will cause AJ to gas? Not really. Because here's the thing about it. AJ is 6'6". Okay? He's 6'6". He's tall. He's not little. 250 pounds, if you went back to that, is not a lot of weight for 6'6". 250 pounds can be held easily on a 6'6" frame. I am 5'11" currently. I weigh right at 232 pounds right now. 232 at 5'11". AJ is 6'6" at 240. Now, here's the thing. I have way too much weight on me to be boxing. I'm not saying AJ should be as big, as bulky as me in the ring. But what I'm saying is AJ is 6'6". He can hold 250 pounds comfortably. It's not the muscle. It's not his weight that gasses him. It's the way that he is training. It is coming down to how they are training him in the gym, whether it be sparring, whether it be mitts, whether it be the heavy bag. Whatever they are doing with AJ, they are not training him correctly because I saw in the Pula fight, he gassed. He definitely was gassing in the Pula fight. The Pula fight was a fight that he was fighting at his own pace, and he still had to get a second win, a fight that he was dominating. So it is evidently clear to me that it is not his weight that causes him to gas. It is the way that they are training him that is the problem with his gas tank. Again, Rob McCracken, I think he needs to be canned. I think they need to get him gone immediately. This is his second loss under McCracken. Second loss. It's time for him to go. When you have a trainer, there's nothing wrong with being loyal to that trainer. But when a trainer reaches their maximum threshold and it's holding you back now, it's time to move on. McCracken is not the right guy for AJ. McCracken does not come up with the good strategies to me, in my opinion. The only reason why AJ's made it this far is because AJ's made it this far. In other words, from what AJ knew before McCracken took over as the head coach, that's what's carried him. It's not McCracken improving him. If anything, I think McCracken is hindering him. I say, and not because my name's Tony, but I believe AJ should go back to Tony Sims. Period. That's where he needs to go. He needs to go back to his old trainer. And guess what? Underneath Tony Sims, guess what Tony Sims was doing? Getting him bigger, stronger, and heavier as he was going up the ranks. Every fight that AJ had under Tony Sims, he was getting bigger. He was getting stronger. We didn't see him gassing under Tony Sims. It wasn't until he let him go that we really, I mean, I guess you could say the quality of opposition went higher up, got harder after Sims was gone. But at the same time, we didn't see him gas. Actually, I would argue that when he was with Tony Sims, he looked more fluid in his movement. He looked less robotic. He looked quicker on the draw. I'm just saying, I don't think Rob McCracken is all he's cracking up to be. I really don't think he's right for AJ. I think the only way AJ can win is if he puts his weight back on. And if he puts his weight back on, and if he wins against Usyk in the rematch, especially if he can spark Usyk, a big I told you so is going to be coming from me to a lot of channels who said that, oh, AJ doesn't need to be bigger. Yes, he does. This is the heavyweights. We're not here to take weight off. They're not there to be small. They're there to be heavyweights. He needs to be bigger. He needs to get his ass back on them weights so he can work on his power. Again, I would say this: Anthony Joshua, he hits hard, undoubtedly, but he is not a God gifted knockout artist like a Deontay Wilder. What I mean by that is Deontay Wilder could get into a boxing ring at 200 pounds and hit just as hard as if he was 200 or 250 pounds. That's God given. Anthony Joshua hits hard, but his power is coming from his size and his strength. When you take away his size, you take away his strength, you see his power reduce. And that is what we have seen for the last 3 fights in a row now. And I'm going to keep harping on it. And I'm not saying that because I'm a big dude, because I'm muscular. I'm not saying that because of that. Not at all. Not at all. I'm saying it because this is what I've seen. If I thought a lighter AJ would improve him, I would have never been saying it was done from the beginning for him to lose the weight. But it's tactically the wrong way to go. It's just, it doesn't work for him. He needs to be the tank that he is. And when he fights Usyk the next time, he needs to give Usyk no respect. He needs to walk through him, keep his guard tighter for one. Don't let him come straight down the pipe and manhandle him. Bully him like Chisora did. Show him you are the bigger, stronger man. He started to do that towards the end. I saw AJ holding and hitting, which is something I've never seen him do. I've never seen AJ fight dirty or with dirty tactics, but he did do that towards the latter part of this fight because he had to, because he was just getting outboxed. My scorecard, I had 8 rounds for Usyk, only 4 rounds for AJ. That is not that competitive. The fight looked competitive watching it, but when you actually go down to the scorecards, 116, 112, I believe the other one was 117, 111. That's not a competitive scorecard. So he needs to be the bully the next time they fight. He needs to go at him head on, not let Usyk bob and weave and dictate the pace. He did do something good where he was just touching Usyk with soft punches. He was touching him, touching him, touching him. That's good. But you can't just keep touching him. You got to set up power. You got to plant your feet and explode on him, which he wasn't doing because AJ looked very unsure of when to release. He looked very gun shy. And it could be the great movement that Usyk was doing, and that's understandable. But at some point in time, when you're getting down on these cards, you got to say F it and let your hands go. And again, AJ was doing more of a single shot here, a single shot there against a guy who was just getting to the inside. Where was the uppercut from AJ? Like Usyk was bobbing and weaving more or less at the hips, not so much at the knees. And that chin was there for the taking. We didn't even see the uppercuts that we're so accustomed to seeing AJ throw. Again, I don't think a 240-pound AJ, a 237-pound AJ can beat Usyk. No matter how many times they fight, I think Usyk will come out on top. What's going on, Grind Hard? The link's in the chat if anybody wants to jump on. I'm not going to be on for too much longer because I'm doing some work in the background. I jumped on for somebody to get on, but they didn't show. Like I thought it was going. They literally messaged me like, "Yo, go live." I went live, and they're not here. So that's the only reason why I didn't really want to go live. But yeah, again, I can't. Watching the fight back, I don't see how AJ beats him at his current form because realistically, truthfully, Usyk had a lot of opportunities to get AJ out of there. He hurt him a lot and would just back up after he hurt him. If anything, the improvements can come night and day from Usyk to where it doesn't go 12 rounds. Like he caught AJ with a straight to the face that sent him all the way across the ring, and then right after it just backed off. He hit AJ with a jab that straightened him up and snapped his head back and backed off. No, That was your opportunity. In the 12th round, with about 10 seconds left, is the first time we saw Usyk barrage AJ, and he damn near knocked him out. He damn near. If there would have been 40 seconds left on the clock, AJ wouldn't have made it. If Usyk would have fought that way from the beginning, instead of just setting up the feints, the single shots here and there, circling, hit him here, hit him there. But when he went in, just boom, 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 and get out, this AJ wouldn't have made it. Especially when he got hurt. All the times he got hurt multiple times. Multiple times. And I saw some people saying that they were surprised that Derek Chisora looked better against Usyk than AJ did. And I'm not surprised at all. You know why? Because Derek Chisora was 260-something pounds in that fight. Chisora was 260 something and used his weight against Usyk. It was illegal. He held him and he was holding and hitting him. But that's why the fight was a lot closer than this was, because he had so much size on Usyk. And again, I have to come back full circle to where I began. What's going on, 1-2? Had AJ kept that size, he may have been able to do what Chisora did, but better, because he's the better boxer. AJ is a much better boxer than Chisora, but he's not a better boxer than Usyk. He's just not. But AJ could have done everything that Chisora did, but better, had he come in bigger, stronger. Why does he say what's good, AJ? Damn. The link's in the chat if anybody wants to click in and join. Again, like I said, I'm only going to be on probably for another 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm going to get off because I'm typing up some work in the background. But yeah, this fight went pretty much how I thought it would go. I thought it would be pretty one-sided, and it was. And unless, in my opinion, the only way AJ wins is if he gets rid of Rob McCracken and puts his fucking weight back on and starts lifting them damn weights again. What people used to hate on him about being a bodybuilder, well, he needs to be a bodybuilder. He needs to be a bodybuilder again. What's going on?
What's good?
I'm gonna turn you up. Shit, not much. What'd you think about the fight?
The fight went pretty much how I thought it was gonna go, and you're not one of the ones I can say I told you so, because you picked Usyk too. But I've been making my rounds on people's channels, you know, with my I told you so. But
yeah, I was making my rounds earlier, and it was so funny because, like, I wasn't even trying to do like an I told you so. I just gave my breakdown of what I was just saying earlier on this live about what AJ needed to do. And one of the people I went to, who I'm cool with, got no problems with, he got all in his feelings trying to tell me how I was wrong. And then I was like, wait a minute, dude. You wanted to bet me $10,000 that AJ would win and Usyk would lose. But yet you telling me I don't know what I'm talking about because I was right and you were wrong. I wasn't even trying to say that. All I was giving was my opinion on what AJ needed to do to improve, and he kept telling me how I was wrong. No, AJ needs to be even smaller, 235. Let AJ come 235 against Usyk, and I guarantee you he gets knocked the fuck out.
You still there?
What's that?
Oh, shit.
I can't hear you. Ah, shit. We lost him. But yeah, and it was just ridiculous to me how like I have been wrong before. I am right way more than I am wrong. But when I am wrong, I admit it. I don't take offense to anybody. I don't try to argue with them or debate with them. I eat my crow. I've even made a video about being wrong whenever I thought Lomachenko would beat Teofimo Lopez. I made a video saying that I was wrong. So I was just right that somebody who was willing to bet me $10,000, which I knew if I would have bet them, I'd never got the money, wanted to bet me $10,000 they were wrong, but yet they're still trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. When you truthfully should owe me $10,000, but I don't know what I'm talking about.
They just butt hurt. They just butt hurt. That's
It's
all that
very
is. They butt hurt, but like but the only thing I disagree, like when you was talking about AJ being heavier, I don't think we've seen AJ gas when he was heavier, but nobody really took advantage. Nobody really took advantage of it, and I don't think that would have helped tonight with him, gassing, because Usyk's the wrong fighter to gas against. And with the Derek Chisora fight, yeah, AJ is a way better fighter than Derek Chisora, but Derek Chisora is not afraid to get hit. AJ kind of sort of is. If he's not the one doing the hitting, he doesn't like to get hit. And Usyk in the third round, he felt Usyk's power, and it kind of threw him off a bit because nobody was expecting that for Usyk. Like, nobody expected him to be able to hurt AJ. And to me, AJ doesn't have the best of chins for the heavyweight division.
and see, I thought the opposite. I thought Usyk could. I definitely knew Usyk hurt him, especially the later the fight went on. Like I said in my prediction, I would not be surprised if Usyk knocked AJ out in between the 10th and 12th round, and we damn near got in the 12th round. Um, I disagree because I saw AJ land a couple of shots that hurt Usyk. Okay, now imagine like I believe it was a left hook that he caught Usyk in the body with that hurt him badly. Like, it's the first time I've seen Usyk actually hurt, stunned from it. And imagine if AJ within 250 landed that shot with a hell of a lot more power and force coming behind that shot. He very well could have dropped Usyk off that shot. So I do believe that a heavier AJ would have performed better.
Yeah, I can see that, but I still don't think a heavier AJ would stop Usyk. And he might would have got a knockdown, but I think the later rounds, if Usyk with his movement and way he was fighting, that would have gassed AJ. Because just think, the way AJ fought this fight, you didn't. I mean, he got tired, but he didn't really get fatigued like he would if he was when he was weighing 15 to 20 pounds heavier. And
But
Usyk was definitely not trying to let him off the hook.
but here's my problem with that argument. We did not so AJ did not lose his weight because he was gassing. He never he lost his weight because he lost to Andrew Ruiz Jr., but he never gassed in that fight.
He didn't get a chance to gas in that fight.
But listen to what I'm saying. He did not gas in that fight. So, being that he may not have given the chance to gas, it's irrelevant. The fact is, he never gassed in that fight. He was winning that fight until he got reckless and got caught. So, the fact that he took weight off because he lost the fight that had nothing to do with gas was a dumb decision in the first place.
Yeah.
Point is this: it would have been one thing if AJ tried to end the first time and beat him, and then just ran out of steam and lost because he ran out of steam. But that's not what we saw.
No, yeah, that's yeah. Like I said, it's not what we saw, but with the like you said with the Andy Ruiz, he didn't gas, but he didn't give a chance to gas. And AJ, when he was at the heavier weights, he was known to gas, but none of the fighters would take advantage of that because he was still big and still had the power, and they was afraid to get hit.
Listen to what you
Like,
just said.
except Klitschko let him off the hook. He even admitted that he let him off the hook. He was trying to take him into the later rounds when he should have just went ahead and finished him.
No, Klitschko ran out of steam trying to finish him, and AJ got his second win and stopped Klitschko because of it. If, in my opinion, if Klitschko would have been in his early 30s, late 20s, he wouldn't have ran out of steam, and 9 times out of 10 would have won that fight. That's not what happened. My thing is this: who did AJ gas against that caused him to lose a fight?
Who did he? I mean, he didn't lose the fight because they didn't take advantage of it, but he gassed against Klitschko. Um,
What did he do to Klitschko?
Klitschko let him off the hook. He was
But
allowed to get his second win back.
not what I asked. What did he do to Klitschko?
He stopped Klitschko. That's only because Klitschko allowed him to get his second win. That was a good, after he hurt him, there was a good 2 or 3 rounds where he just let AJ back into the fight.
I'm not going against that. I'm going to make a point with this. So he knocked him out after he got exhausted. When was the next time he got exhausted?
Let's see. He's gassed that fight. The we really didn't get to see him gas against the Parker fight. Free wouldn't even let fucking Parker fight. Bro, other than the nose thing and Anthony Joshua, showing that he had true grit, the Povetkin fight.
He got his nose broke and still kept fighting. What did he do to Povetkin?
That's why he showed true grit, but
right. But what was the end result?
He won, but like I said, he hasn't been when he's gassed. He hasn't been in the ring with somebody that would pressure him.
No, but listen to what I'm saying. How did he win the fight against Povetkin?
Oh, KO. He showed heart. But Povetkin wasn't, he gassed himself.
Right, but I'm just saying he knocked him out, right?
Yeah.
So here's my point I'm getting to. He was still while he was gassed because he had to still knock guys out. 240 pounds, he doesn't have that. He cannot knock. I guarantee he loses to every top heavyweight at 40. I guarantee. Because he doesn't have the power. It's gone. It's not there. It's non-existent.
Yeah, but Usyk has a better gas tank. That's why I'm saying like
but here's the thing.
A bigger AJ, and he has I'll say the way he is at 240, he has a better gas tank now than what he did when he was at 250, 260.
But listen, it's irrelevant because the thing that you keep saying that they retire bigger, guys couldn't because he had the power. He had the power. The power. Well, here's the thing about it. There's no telling if he still has the power. Where Usyk kept in pressuring. If AJ landed the shots and it was snapping his fucking head back, he may not have been active. He may not have been around him. He may not have been able to punch. See, AJ didn't have the power to keep Usyk in bay. So Usyk was free to do whatever he wanted to do without worrying being knocked out.
But also here's the thing with that. With him taking off that weight, he got a better gas tank. He still has his power, but he's able to throw. You can see he's a little bit faster with his punches. So just think if he had that weight, that would have took a little bit off of his speed. And would he have landed those punches? Would Usyk have made him miss more? Would Usyk's game plan would have been to pressure him like he did from the beginning of the fight? His game plan, if he was bigger, his game plan might have been a whole lot different. He probably would have made Joshua, work more. We don't know. It's all speculation.
It's harder to make the taller man work more when you're the shorter man. You got to come in. You got to come in on them to make them work. And if every time you're stepping in, you're getting hurt, it's very hard to make them work then because now you're playing keep away from big man who outranges you, who catches you every time you come in. It'd be another story if Usyk was taller and more rangier, but he's not. He's shorter. He has to come to AJ. Like you saw in the beginning of this fight, AJ was just standing still in the middle, and Usyk had to come forward. AJ wasn't giving up any ground in the first 2 or 3 rounds. He was just turning with him, but not moving from the middle, expending very little energy. My thing is this: Usyk, had he been getting hurt every time he got hit, would not have been able to keep the same work rate. And the thing is this: to me, AJ, in terms of like if you're gonna compare him to a 1 to 10 speed rating versus other heavyweights, he's not that fast. He's not fast at 250. He's not fast at 240. The speed that he gains is negligible. The stamina that he gains, in my opinion, is negligible. So if you're only getting very minute gains from taking the weight off, but you're losing all your fucking power, then you're losing more than you're gaining.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got me there.
And that's my thing about it. Like the guy in your picture right there, that man right there weigh 200 pounds and knock somebody out. He could weigh 250 and knock somebody out because he has God gifted knockout power. He has got it. It's innate in him. It doesn't matter what he weighs, he can knock somebody out. Anthony Joshua is not like that. Anthony Joshua can hit hard, but his power is based on his size and his strength. When you start stripping away his strength, stripping away his size, he's no longer a knockout artist like Deontay Wilder.
To me, I think 250-pound Deontay Wilder, that will work against him.
Well, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying Wilder should be that heavy. I'm saying my point is it doesn't matter how heavy or how light Deontay Wilder is. He's going to hit hard regardless.
Yeah, yeah.
The weight for Deontay Wilder is irrelevant when it comes to power. He's going to hit just as hard at 200 as he would at 250. With AJ, he can't do that. If AJ weighed 200 pounds, he would have zero punching power. Just like you see AJ at 240, 237, where I really think his real weight was, doesn't have the punching power that he did at 250. He needs the weightlifting. He needs the power. He needs the size. He needs the muscle because what he is losing is much greater than what he is gaining. See, you don't need speed to land shots. You just need timing. There's a lot of fighters that can time the fuck out of small or faster fighters and beat them.
Well, he needs to work on his timing, and he needs to like I've been saying since day one. He really, I mean, he did a better job of it, but that's against a Usyk, a smaller fighter. He really needs to work on his head movement. That head movement is gonna get him slaughtered.
Yeah, it's really gonna get him in a lot of trouble against somebody like Tyson Fury. Even Deontay Wilder, if he keeps his head on the straight line, if Deontay comes down with that straight right through the pipe, he could be in a lot of trouble.
It's gonna get him in. It will get him in trouble against, like you said, Fury. It get him in trouble against Wilder, Herkovich, Joe Joyce.
I mean, even though he beat him, even Dillian White could get a lot of troubles right now because Dillian White has gotten a lot better at his straight punches, his jabs, his straights down the middle. So, I'm my opinion is the first thing he needs to do is go whatever gyms they have in the UK. I don't know if he has his own gym with weights. I don't know if they have a Gold's Gym or 24 Fitness. I don't know what the fuck they have. But the first thing he needs to do is start picking up some weights and getting his strength back. Number one. Number two,
get rid of McCracken.
Number three, get rid of Kraken. Number four, if he can, try to pick up Tony Sims again because I think Tony Sims was the best coach he had.
But AJ is as we seen from the other day, AJ is a very loyal. That one thing we can say about he's very loyal. So I don't think he's gonna get rid of McCracken.
And like I said, so to me, I'll be honest with you. Loyalty to me works both ways, right? Let's say I'm your trainer, okay? And I was with you from day one, all right? But it comes to the point of where you're losing now, and you're losing because of me, because of my strategy that I implemented to you. Now, let me ask you this. If I know I can make you know better, if I know my ceiling is capped, how am I being loyal to you by dragging you down and remaining your coach?
Mm,
See what I'm saying? Loyalty goes both ways. If somebody's truly loyal and they know they can't make you any better and they know they've taken you as far as they can take you, then it's time for them to step down so you can do better.
yeah, but I don't know. I can't say this for McCracken, but maybe McCracken's probably thinking that I I can do better. Maybe he can't see that he's taking AJ as far as he can take AJ.
He might not be able to, but in my opinion, he has. And there's nothing that McCracken can do to make him better because his whole ideology, his whole strategy of making him a leaner, more fluid. First off, AJ's not fluid. He's never been fluid. He's never been a fluid style fighter. He's no Muhammad Ali, or if you want to do current boxers, he does not fight like a Tyson Fury. So making him small and elusive is just not gonna happen. It's not in his nature. It's not the way that he boxes. It's not the way he boxed when he was 220 pounds first turning pro. He's never moved like that. That's not how he fights. My thing is you have to play off guys' strengths. You have to know what they're good at, what they're not good at, because you can't turn somebody into something they're not. So if you got a guy big and strong, work on that. If he has problems with the gas, work on his gas tank more. Do more road work. Make him spar longer. Let him get a 1 minute break instead of make 5 minute rounds and keep going. You work his gas tank. You don't strip away what makes him great.
Yeah,
That's just how I see it. And I could be wrong. AJ could come back small and win, but I highly doubt it. Because I think the closer his weight gets to Usyk, the easier of a night it's going to be for Usyk.
yeah. I I don't think he beats Usyk in a rematch. I don't think. And another thing is like, when is this rematch going to happen? Because the reports is he has a broken eye socket. So
That's what it looked like to me. It looked like he broke his orbital bone.
yeah, they
How swelling up?
yeah, Eddie Hearn said that Joshua told him that it happened in the ninth round.
It might have been. It was somewhere in them
And
later rounds that I started seeing it just start to swell, and it swole like immediately. Like it's like normally if something's not broken, it'll be slow, progressive. But that shit was just like whoop.
yeah, so it's see how see how this is gonna go and how this is gonna affect Joshua, because I hope he takes time to actually heal up and don't do like Kell Brook did.
Yeah, and get his other eye socket broke.
Yeah,
I mean, this is what I thought was going to happen from the beginning, and this is what I hope happens. This is what I hope happens because it is my own ulterior motives. Because this is where me and you's opinions differ. So AJ lost, right?
yeah,
That now because that happened. There's one fight out there. So Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury fights. No matter who wins, they're gonna have to have one more fight before they can fight AJ because of this rematch. Now, what I hope happens is Deontay Wilder goes out there, beats Tyson Fury, then Dillian White finally fights Deontay Wilder. And I picked Deontay Wilder to lose a long time ago. And I'm gonna go collect all these checks from all these people that say crazy. That's what I hope happens.
like you said, we disagree on that. I got Wilder against Dillian. It's my bias. I just don't like Dillian. But to me, the Wilder and Fury fight is not the important fight for us to get like an undisputed. The important fight is going to be Dillian White versus
Otto Wallin.
Robert Helenius. That's that's going to be the important fight.
What do you mean Hellenius?
If Robert wins, Dillian's going to go for a rematch.
No, no, no,
That
no. You mean Wallin.
huh? Oh yeah, Valine. Yeah, my bad,
Yeah,
Valine. Yeah,
not
I don't know but yeah, Valine's, which I'm picking Valine to win. But yeah, that to me, that's the important fight right now. that's the fight. I mean, I know I'm looking for the Wilder Fury third fight, but that's the fight right there to me that's going to determine everything.
Well, so here's the thing about it. If Otto Wallin beats Dillian White, there will definitely be a rematch. If Deontay Wilder beats Tyson Fury, then now, because of how everybody at the top is now lost, if it plays out that way, Deontay Wilder becomes the king of the division that fast. He's the number one guy. He has to be.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
he would
if
take the belt back and he would be lineal.
he would. Well,
Which
I don't really care about the lineal
yeah,
or him taking the belt back. It's the fact that the arguably number one guy just lost, Anthony Joshua. Okay, he just lost, which by default makes if you thought Anthony Joshua was number one, Tyson Fury was number two. Now by default, Tyson Fury moves to number one. I, me personally, I cannot say Usyk is number one heavyweight just because he beat one guy at the top. I don't do that. I've never done that, and I won't do that. So if Deontay Wilder, being that he has been at the top before, defeats Tyson Fury, the only guy to beat him, then he's the number one heavyweight, hands down, by far the number one heavyweight. No argument. Whether
to
people
me,
like him or hate him, he's the number one heavyweight. Period.
see, I've never had AJ at number one, and to me, after this, like after Wilder lost, I had Fury one, Wilder two, AJ three, and then after three, you can put whoever you want to put there. But AJ was never number one to me.
See,
I didn't even have him number one when Tyson Fury came back.
what you just gave it to Tyson Fury by default or Wilder?
I gave it to Tyson Fury by default. I mean, undefeated. He was the guy that dethroned Klitschko. I mean, he 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 well, I'm not, I can't even say he was the legit owner to all the belts AJ had, because
No,
one got stripped from him, which was the IBF stripped him, and then he just vacated the other ones and did that semi-retirement.
yeah, but I mean, it's not like those belts were handed to AJ. He earned them after Fury let him go. So
I think they hand to me the how that not Tyson Fury, but how that Joseph Parker fight went down with that ref. I think they handed that WBO belt to him.
I don't know because I mean, I just I don't think Joseph Parker could have beat him. I mean, you see Joseph Parker in the ring with Dillian White get dropped twice.
But
Then
but that was they let him do some roughhouse tactics in that in the Anthony Joshua fight. They wouldn't even let him get on the inside. Every time he would get on the inside with Anthony Joshua, the referee would break it up.
yeah, but you got to look at it like this too. You got to think about it like this. Whenever Floyd Mayweather Jr. fought Ricky Hatton, I'm only bringing up Hatton because his son just fought on tonight's card. He's trash. But when Hatton fought Mayweather, Cortez did the same thing to Hatton. The minute, because Hatton was the type of guy to fight in the clinch. The minute they Cortez separated him immediately, so Hatton couldn't fight his style of fighting. But here's the thing about it: you got to be able to fight more than one way.
Yeah, and
So
this probably gonna upset because I'm a Pretty Boy Floyd fan and I'm a Money Mayweather critic, so this is probably gonna piss off some Mayweather fans. But this is my thoughts and my speculations. I can't prove any of this. I think some of those refs were kind of, on Mayweather's side.
oh yeah,
And I know that's probably about to trigger a lot of Mayweather fans, but I don't care.
no, I can agree with you. There was a lot of questionable stuff that it almost seemed like he was fighting Floyd and the refs in the latter part of his career, not the beginning, not when he was Pretty Boy,
Yeah,
but when he beat De La Hoya. Moving forward past that, it definitely seemed like in at least a couple of fights that the fighters were fighting him and the ref at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah,
I give you that. Yeah, I can agree with that. Floyd had that money.
yeah. Hey, money talks. Money talks.
But let me ask you this, and I'll give my answer after the fact. With Usyk beating Anthony Joshua, where do you put him on the pound for pound now?
Where do I put Usyk on the pound for pound?
Yeah,
Mm, just saying, putting a heavyweight into the pound for pound.
he's a cruiserweight.
I would have to, man. Oh well, with him being a cruiserweight and having to move up to heavyweight,
Yep,
I'd have to put him at he he has to be in the top three. So he has to be in the top three. But I know you want a definitive answer, so I would say, given what he's just done, and no, I put him in number one.
that's. I'm gonna tell you why I put him in. Usyk is now my number one pound for pound because he is the only pound for pound champion that has become undisputed. I shouldn't say pound for pound champion. He's the only champion that was undisputed, moved up, and became a unified champion as well. Or as regulators said earlier, unanified champion. So Terence
In 19 fights.
Crawford has a belt, but he's never won another belt. Usyk has three of the four major belts and one baby belt that he just won off of Anthony Joshua. He's the only undisputed to do it. Josh Taylor has only been undisputed. He hasn't moved up yet. So, in my opinion, Usyk has done more than everybody. Canelo's never been undisputed. He's about to be because I think he's going to be Plant pretty easily. But at the moment, Usyk's done more than all the other champions, in my opinion,
In 19 fights.
in 19 fights. That's crazy.
So yeah, he's
And what's so bad about it, my dude? What's so bad about it is I have said in the past, I absolutely hate the way that Usyk fights. I hate what I call it is death by a thousand pillows. I hate. I've hated since he was a cruiserweight, but you gotta give credit where credit is due because, gosh damn, them little light punches add up. Like he just be working people so much that you have to give him credit.
man. I've always gave him credit. I've always been a Usyk fan. So even it's here's how much of a Usyk fan I am. Let's say Wilder wins against Fury, and those two go into you know go for undisputed against each other. I'm not I'm not making the video on them. I'm not picking nobody. I'm just watching, and it's gonna be bittersweet for me. I would hope for a draw.
So I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you know my opinion about Deontay Wilder. I think if the top guys before Usyk was Joshua, Tyson Fury, Dillian White, I think they all can beat Deontay Wilder. However, listen to this. This is where this shit gets crazy. Out of all those same guys, I think Usyk can beat them all. I think Usyk can beat Tyson Fury. I think Usyk can beat Dillian White, and he just beat Anthony Joshua. But listen to this. I think Deontay Wilder is the only heavyweight that can actually beat Usyk.
Styles make fights, so it's not crazy. Styles make fights.
Styles makes fights, and it's the speed that I think Deontay Wilder holds up all the other guys that gives him the advantage. How quickly he can deliver the shots. He may not be the best technically, but he can get off that line super fast. And if he connects on Usyk, it's going to be big problems.
And to me, Usyk, well, I don't know about now because he's 34. He's getting up there in age, but let's say
Wilder's
like let's say like 3 years ago, Usyk would be a horrible matchup for Tyson Fury. horrible. Tyson Fury doesn't do well against
Short guy.
boxers. He doesn't do well against short guys, and he doesn't do well against boxers, pure boxers.
I agree.
And Usyk a couple of years ago, I mean, it's still probably today. It'll still probably be a tough fight for Tyson Fury, but a couple of years ago, yeah, that would have been a horrible matchup for Tyson.
It's crazy. Like, what's crazy about this whole thing is every time these guys get close to like the undisputed mega fight, they lose. Like, they lose. Like every time these top heavyweights get to the, because think about this. Even my dude Dillian White, right? All he had to do was beat Povetkin in the first fight, and he would have been fighting Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder without a doubt. He would have fought him. Okay. But he got knocked the fuck out. Deontay Wilder, if he would beat Tyson Fury in the rematch, he would have had AJ right there. But he lost. He got knocked the fuck out. Anthony Joshua, if he would have won this fight and not lost to Usyk, he would have been going into the winner for undisputed against Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Every time these guys have it, it seems like they lose.
And
Crazy.
I don't think that fight would have, if Wilder would have beat Fury in the second fight, I don't think that Joshua fight would have happened. Now, I'm not saying Joshua wouldn't want the fight, because I wholeheartedly believe Joshua wants to fight Deontay Wilder. I don't think Eddie Hearn wants that fight.
Well, that's how I felt about this fight. I felt like Eddie Hearn did not want this fight with Usyk, and he was even talking about vacating the title to not have the fight. And I know that Eddie is probably pissed off that he didn't make AJ vacate like he wanted to, because I think Eddie knew, and I agree with you. I think there's certain fighters that scare Eddie Hearn into wanting AJ to fight, but at the end of the day, it seems like AJ actually calls the shots.
Yeah, Wilder scares Eddie Hearn. Usyk scares Eddie Hearn. Joe Joyce scares Eddie Hearn.
Ooh, that's a oh man, that would be a really hard fight for Anthony Joshua. Joe Joyce, how he walks through shots and delivers.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if AJ could beat Joe Joyce, to be
I don't
honest.
think he can beat Joe Joyce either. Man, that guy's chin is that bro, that guy's chin is unbelievable, like Wilder's power. And
you know what's so funny about that? Usyk is the only guy that ever hurt Joe Joyce's chin.
wasn't that at cruiserweight or something like that?
No,
No. That was at heavyweight in the
the
amateurs or Olympics or something like that.
well, it was considered amateurs, but they had no headgear in small, like the normal size glove.
Yeah.
So the 10-ounce gloves, they weren't in 12-ounce. But yeah, and that fight all the years ago, Usyk actually cracked that chin and hurt him.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Joe Joyce is really what his nickname is. He's the motherfucking juggernaut, because he just walks. Like whenever he was fighting Daniel Dubois, he got hit by everything. It just kept coming.
And to me, with Wilder's power, I think he could wobble Joe Joyce, but I don't think he would be able to. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think he'll be able to stop Joe Joyce. That chin is just unbelievable.
And that's the thing, though. The thing is, if Wilder can't stop him and Joe keeps coming, can Wilder take the damage that Joe Joyce inflicts? Because his punches are slow, but damn, they're heavy.
Yeah. And he wants his title. He wants his title shot now, because he's 36, pushing 37.
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah, he might already be 37.
Yeah, so with AJ's eye being the way it is, they might go ahead and push that Joe Joyce Usyk fight, because they was trying to push that fight before this fight.
Yeah, for AJ.
Yeah. So that fight might happen, and the winner might have to face AJ later down the road.
And see, if I was Usyk, that'd be a fight that I'd be like, nope, I'm not doing it because that's the type of fight that even if Usyk wins, it's gonna take something out of you.
But he's
Like,
gonna have to if he don't take it, he's gonna have to vacate one of those belts.
well, he just goes for Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder.
Well, true.
Because if AJ can't fight, he's not obligated to have to fight Joe Joyce. He could just go for undisputed.
True.
And I can guarantee you, motherfucking you, there ain't gonna be any issues with Usyk signing the dotted line against Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury.
There ain't gonna be an issue with Usyk signing the down line with anybody.
That's what I'm saying. Like he'll get in there. He don't care.
Man, I don't know what to do. I'm so happy for Usyk, man.
Yo, I'm gonna say this because I haven't been over to any of the channels. And what's crazy is I saw a couple of LDBC channels. They actually picked AJ to win, but I could only imagine that there must be fucking fireworks going off right now on the other side.
Man, the main person, that's my boy. I went on his page and I said something, but I haven't hit him up on Instagram yet. I've been thinking about trolling him on Instagram, and that's my boy Blue.
Oh,
because he was picking a ninth round, a brutal ninth round KO for Joshua. And
yeah.
I was watching that ninth round heavy, like, come on, Usyk, just make it out. Just make it out. Just make it out so I can just talk shit to Blue.
No, you definitely can talk shit now. Because I mean, I know you picked Usyk, but me and you, I mean, on YouTube, as far as like people who create content, I think I'm the only one that actually was willing to make a prediction video and put my predictions up to stake to pick Joe. Wow, I was about to say Joe Jones to pick Usyk over AJ. I think I'm the only one who actually made a video pre-fight predicting that Usyk would do what he did.
Divine Sense, he picked Usyk as well. He made a video about that.
There you go. Well, that's two people.
And I should have made my video, but I didn't. I just stayed in people's comments like, Usyk gonna win, right? That's what I did.
But yeah, I mean, the next one I got to do a prediction on because I'm resetting my prediction because it'd be hard to find them all. With this one, I think I was 7 right, 9 wrong, which is a really good record. But now I'm just gonna set it down to 1 right, 0 wrong because it'd take me forever to find them all and put them on a playlist. So I'm gonna start my playlist of predictions now, so people can go back and see all these ones I get right.
Okay.
What's wrong?
So how did you score the fight? Because I scored it 9-3.
I had it 8-4.
Or 8-4. Oh,
yeah.
So it's pretty close. So
yeah. But I mean, I could see it 9-3 because there was a couple of rounds that you gotta understand. Whenever I was scoring the fight, right, how I scored it was as if I was ringside. I already know if it's gonna be a very close, tight round, they were gonna give it. So I want to say it was round 4 that could have went either way, and I was like, I'm just gonna give it to AJ, and that's how I came to 8-4.
Yeah.
Because I had AJ winning round 4, round 5, round 6, and then one other round somewhere later in the fight, like towards the mid-late rounds. And then the rest I gave to Usyk.
Yeah, I was like, come on, Usyk, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Do not let him get back in the fight.
But hey, that's one thing that he needs to work on because there was several times that Usyk hurt AJ and he would just back away. He just literally would back away and not continue to throw shots. It was very frustrating.
But he said that his corner told him not to go for a knockout. And
yeah, but that's dangerous at heavyweight. Like,
yeah,
that's very dangerous because these are the type of guys that if they land clean, they can put you on your ass. And if you get knocked on your ass in somebody else's backyard, you're gonna lose. Even if you win all the rounds, you're gonna lose.
And That's what I thought they was going, because I was nervous because I was like, man, it's in it's in his home country. They're probably about to give it to AJ and Barn. What we seen the last couple of fights, I mean,
especially with
they don't care. They don't care if people make videos about
no,
robberies. Hell,
they don't care.
Hadden just got a robbery.
Huge. Like, he got his ass whooped for 5 out of the 6 rounds. Like, he literally got beat 5 out of the 6 rounds. If you want to be generous, you can give him 2. But he got whooped by a dude who was 2-4 for 5 out of the 6 rounds and somehow won.
Yeah.
But the UK is kind of shady with their scoring because the referee was the one that judged that fight. He's the one that scored it.
Yeah, and I thought that was gonna happen with AJ. I was like, man,
I agree.
He didn't knock him out. He didn't knock him out, so I was like, I know AJ's probably about to walk out of here with the W. And then when I seen Usyk's hand raised, I was like, oh yes, and it's his anniversary.
Yeah, I heard that, his wife's anniversary. Yeah.
Man,
yo, he gets some booty tight.
Oh yeah, kids go to bed early.
But you know what I think it was? It's because how AJ finished the fight. He was like dropped down, looked dead on his stool, and I think they knew that if they robbed it, too much of a thing because of how they finished the fight.
Yeah.
Had AJ, still been up on his feet, had his hand raised, I think they may have tried to steal it, but AJ looked like a beat fighter. Like, look.
Yeah. And I got more confident after the press conference when I seen AJ and he was just rubbing his neck and all that. I was like, oh yeah, Usyk got this.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't. I know AJ doesn't like press conferences, but it was almost like he didn't want to be there.
Nah. To me, AJ is a true champion. I mean that in the sense he is humble when he wins and he's humble. He's always champion. He doesn't come up with excuses. He can admit to his fault and he tries to do that. So, sometimes it's not always the win. You can still be a winner and lose. You know what I mean? That sounds intuitive, but you can. And to me, AJ has the spirit of the champion. I do expect him to be better for the rematch. But if he comes back again 240, I'm picking him to lose. I'm telling you right now, I'm picking him to lose if he becomes small again.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it might be my phone. I think it's breaking up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drop out. Thanks for having me on, bro.
Mike's breaking up really bad. Nah, it's good. Ah, shit, we lost him. He'll probably be back. I'll wait for Expert Genius to come back and let him on. When he comes back, I appreciate everybody coming through that came through. This was supposed to be just a short live. Again, my lives I never tag. Because I'm on my phone, so I can't really just jump on the StreamYard and go. So I'm just happy that I got more than one person in here. I'm gonna give them a few minutes to come back, and depending on that will be when we end this. To the chat, he said AJ needs to use body shots and the uppercut more. I agree with this wholeheartedly. I don't know why AJ wasn't throwing the uppercut, especially how Usyk was bending at the hips and the waist versus at the knees. Like that's a prime uppercut target when guys dip at the waist. Havlo said agreed on everything with 2 things. Fury would beat Usyk. I don't know that Fury can beat Usyk, and Wilder would hurt White bad. I disagree with that as well. It's breaking up on my end, so I dropped out. Thanks for having me on. I don't. Am I breaking up? Because you know my phone sometimes acts stupid when I go live for a while. Can y'all hear me clearly, or am I breaking up as well? Because it could be on my end, and if it is on my end, that's a good time to stop. Can you hear my voice clearly, or am I breaking up? I might be breaking up, and that's why y'all can't answer. Oh, it was your phone, so you can hear me clearly. But I'm gonna end it here because my boy expert can't get back on. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this before I go. Anthony Joshua, you've been here before. This isn't your first loss. This is your second loss. You know what you need to do to get better. You know what you need to do to improve. You need to go back to the drawing board, come back better. My honest opinion, probably never hear it, but if it ever gets to you, you need to revert back to what you once were. The big brick shit powerhouse that everybody called the bodybuilder. I think that's step one on getting you back to the right track of where you should be. Do I believe you can beat Usyk? Yes, I do. I saw you catch Usyk with a good body shot that hurt him, which tells me that if you can hurt him, you can beat him. However, you've got to change up your tactics. You cannot outbox Usyk like you did in this fight. You have to be the powerhouse. You have to be the dictator. You have to be the bully. You have to take the fight to him and not wait for him to come in. You have to run him over. You can do it. You just have to train for it. You've, like I said, experienced a loss before, and you were a champion in your loss, and you got all your belts back after your loss, and you can very well get all your belts back after this loss. Don't give up. Don't let it get to you. Just know that you've been here before, and you've been better. So that's all I've really got to say. Again, I appreciate Expert Genius for jumping on. He's one of the only other few people who picked Anthony Joshua to lose. Pablo Papagai, Dead Game Boxing, Actual Facts, Grind Hard, Sports Nation, Jaguar Pulse, ILF, you know, the moderator regulator, Laron, 1-2 Kid. I can't go up anymore because I ran out of scroll. But again, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. It's very rare that I get on camera anymore because, you know, your boy, he don't put on all this weight. Soon I'll be on. Soon we'll be showing the abs. Soon we'll be showing 400 plus benches like it ain't nothing. But not today. On that note, I'm out.